Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. As some of you know, we've been looking for our next aircraft to add to the fleet here, and we found an interesting one today. This one may be a contender. This one's called the Fuji LM-1. It's based on a T-34, if maybe that's why it looks familiar to a lot of people. This is actually a Japanese variant. They took the T-34 and they made it into a four-seater. Back in the 1950s, they made about 27 of them, and they used them for various purposes in the Japanese military, mostly moving people around and some communications work they did with them. Now, in 1983, about 10 or 12 were imported to the U.S., and out of those, today there are 5 currently flying to the best of my knowledge and my research. This plane's really neat. I mean, it checks a lot of boxes. It's a military aircraft. It's fully aerobatic. It's a four-seater, so a lot more useful than a lot of the aerobatic planes you'll find. It's a relatively fast airplane, 160 knots or so, maybe 12, 13 gallons an hour. It's got just a cavernous interior. If you look here, it's hard to see, but those seats are moved all the way back, the one on the left, and there's just still tons of leg room, and you could take that back seat out, and the room back there is just amazing. Really great headroom. It's a super neat airplane. And if you look like here, just at the nose, that's obviously, T-34, right? The wings, the gear, all of it looks very familiar. 80% of the parts on this plane have commonality with the T-34. So getting parts, is mostly not too hard. You start wanting to get some glass for any of those windshields or the side windows, that's going to have to be a custom job. But the plane is experimental. That's how it was certified. And there's some drawbacks to that, but there's some advantages. You can modify it much easier, put whatever engine in it you want. Some people see that as a plus, some as a minus. You can look at that tail, very, very familiar looking, obviously, for the Mentor fans out there. I've never even heard of this airplane, but then I found one about a year ago and it sold pretty quickly. And I saw this one was for sale, so I traveled out to look at it. And it's really got our interest. It does a lot of the stuff we want to do, and it's got kind of a neat factor to it. I don't know about that big meatball there. I guess if I go to the World War II, flying stuff, am I the bad guy there? I mean, this is a post-World War II aircraft. We were all friendly by then. Pretty big step up into the wing. There's no lower step to get you onto it. But here's a shot of the interior. Obviously, it's got that boom over on the yoke. I heard so they could fit a stretcher on the right-hand side. They didn't want anything to obstruct, the movement of the stretcher, so they could take the seats out and have all that room all the way to the forward pedals to the far back of the airplane, which it's got to be 8 or 9 feet. It's just huge. Also a window in the top, which is handy in aerobatics. And there's that familiar nose. So let me know what you guys think of this plane. This could be something we're considering. Kind of neat. Here's the cockpit. What's amazing is one finger. You move this thing all the way back and forward. I almost thought it wasn't connected. The feel is so light. You view here the old panel. Some of the old, some of the new. It's got an autopilot. All the gauges. There's the throttle quadrant. Here's the mixture, which is original. Fuel selector, 25 gallons on the left, 35 on the right. There's a little extra tank here. Got some modern avionics down between us. Visibility is just amazing. I mean, this is my head level looking out. It's just all glass, and even in a turn, you got glass on the ceiling. Nice seat belts, back seat. I mean, my seat's all the way back, and there's just tons of room. That back seat pops out about 30 seconds, and you could probably 2 people sleep back there. Very unique looking out at the wing. It's a T-34 looking wing. Really interesting, pretty cool. The most important button of all is the smoke. Yeah, but it sits really well. You got one post coming out of the floor on the yoke, and it just kind of bars over. Turn the ailerons back and forth. It's just amazingly easy to move. Really neat. So that's it, guys. Just a quick look at an airplane that you don't really see much of on the internet. I thought it'd be nice just to have a short informational video out there if anyone's looking into this type of plane. Let me know what you think, though. Is this a good option? Kind of interesting? Kind of a little more exciting than just your standard Beechcraft, bonanza you could get. So the search continues, but I don't know. This could be it. We're just mulling it over.